I was in El Salvador doing an independent storytelling project. I had just graduated from George Mason University and did a communications degree with a minor in graphic design and photography. So it's just like, what can I do with music, since I had always played around or did some, music on the side, but never songwriting. So when I came back from that trip from El Salvador, the pandemic hit, like literally a week later. All the plane, airlines were shut down, airports were shut down. So I got home in Arlington, had the roommates of my parents, hanging out. We were trying to figure out this thing together, and I really was just isolated with my thoughts in that time, and that's what came about when I started writing music for the very first time. I would kind of write a couple words down and kind of structurally, because as an artist or even as a musician, you can kind of tell where the verse is, the chorus, and the bridge. So I kind of structure it that way. I won't even write any words down. I would just put, chorus, verse, bridge, and then have that structure already. So when I'm playing the melody, I'm playing as if I already have those in mind. So when I finally have those chords together, I start kind of humming and then creating the lyrics and then adding the lyrics at the end and making sure they kind of coexist with each other, that it makes sense, and then find a way to just kind of connect those two together and create a song, which ends up kind of being the fun part of it, is really finding out, oh, this actually works really well. Adding melody into lyric songwriting and putting them together and creating this beautiful thing that nobody thought or expected. So there were, of course, I think every artist kind of has a timeline of when they want their project to happen. And for me, it didn't really happen when I expected it to. I was originally wanting to release it last year in the fall, because I love, the fall time I think is perfect, or even just around, Valentine's Day era-esque time. But I was just I just know that it's not going to happen during my time. It's going to happen when it needs to happen. So when I was working with other, producers and, mixing, mastering folks that were on the project, if I could be able to do all of those things, I feel like it would have come out a lot faster. But you really, when you're working with other people, you have to learn how to be patient in that process, and knowing things that, take time. There's a reason for that, and I know good things take time, so that's why I decided, okay, let me trust the process and trust that, these producers and the mixing artists and master artists are going to help build this thing to the time that it needs to come out. And so that's why it ended up coming out this year in February, and we did a whole EP release party just to celebrate. I think for me, it's there's a lot of coworkers too that I haven't really talked to in a really long time, and they would just text me and say, hey, I literally just heard about this. I had no idea you were a rock star or some singer, you're living this double life like Hannah Montana. And I'm just well, I don't necessarily brag about, things like that, unless it's a marketing tactic, because I think as musicians, we kind of have to promote our stuff and upcoming things. But naturally, I kind of like to sit in the sidelines and just see how people receive it. So I don't really push to have a lot of people or momentum behind the music that I release or write. But I love that is how people connect to my music, is just by hearing it and relating to it, and then telling me afterwards how that song made them feel. That's, I think, the best thing that you could do as an artist, is just have people hear what you're doing and putting out there in the world, and just receiving it the way that they take it, and it's amazing to hear that feedback, because it's okay, it makes me really want to start writing more music. The last song on the album is called Alma Mia, which is the whole reason behind the project. Alma Mia translates to soul of mine in Spanish, and it means, or repeats in the verses and choruses about what will become of me, what will become of me. And that's how I felt during the pandemic, of uncertainty and not knowing what the next thing was going to be in my life. And speaking to my soul, I was I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm overcoming, I'm contemplating what will become of me. And so I want to start writing more music that has that Spanish feature in it, doing more Spanish English songs. I know a lot of artists currently that I enjoy listening to that are inspiring that effort of like wanting to write more music in Spanish and create kind of more of those roots and sounds and textures that you hear in a lot of those kind of songs. And I just want to like be able to kind of bounce back to my roots of that connection in El Salvador, because my family's from there, and in general Central America, reaching those kind of crowds as well with my music. So I think that's the next step of traveling and also to those countries and writing music with even more artists that are from different parts of Central and South America. I think it's so amazing what artists can do with different textures and sounds. And so when you listen to this album, I want you guys to be able to kind of just like take a trip towards either like the park or to Belle Isle or to downtown, and just like have the skyline behind you or in front of you, because it's kind of a song. This whole project is kind of an ode to what I want people to do when they, need a safe space, I guess you could say. It's just kind of a big hug, embracing you in a way, being like, it's okay, like you're gonna be okay, is literally kind of what the songs portray and reflect. So.
We all need a big hug sometimes.
Yeah, we all need a big hug sometimes.